With us now, New Hampshire Republican Senator Kelly Ayotte. The book claims she was reportedly on a list of potential Romney running mates. Senator, welcome.
Thanks, Charlie.
Were you on the list of potential running mates?
Well, that's what the book says.
And all the disclosures about Christie, does it matter at all, do you think, in terms of whether he becomes the nominee or not?
Well, I think in terms of the back and forth in the book, it sells books, but I don't think that plays to your average person looking at the 2016 election. Obviously, it's a number of years away, and these things will be vetted, but he's a strong candidate, and he's going to do very well in his election.
Can I turn to Benghazi and the questions that Lindsey Graham has raised with respect to the fact that if he does not get an opportunity to question some of the people, then he will block the nominations of the president, including perhaps Janet Yellen, including a whole range of people that are very important right now. Do you support that?
Well, Charlie, he shouldn't have to do this. We've been asking since March. We've written Secretary Kerry a couple of times. We've written the president. And these survivors should be made available to the Congress for oversight. So I think at this point, we're obviously going to try to work with the administration. No one has a desire to block any nominees. What we desire is the truth. So I don't see any other step that can be taken right now because we basically have been brushed off by the administration.
So you're saying you support what Lindsey Graham is doing?
Well, I haven't had a hold, so I don't have a hold. But, you know, I support that he's doing this to get answers, and I hope that it doesn't come to that.
Okay.
So I want to also ask you about your thoughts on health care here. You've said you want to call for a timeout when it comes to implementation of the Affordable Care Act. What does that mean? Does that mean you're going to honor the letter of the law but work on the implementation of it?
I actually think we need a full timeout, and I'll tell you why. So during the shutdown, I stood to my party. I didn't think it was the right strategy. I didn't think it was good for the nation. Right now, with what's happening with the rollout, it's been a mess, but it's much deeper than the website. You know, my constituents are giving me notice of cancellations that they're receiving, notices of higher premiums, this issue of the 29-hour work week. It's much deeper than the website. So I would like us to take a complete timeout, and let's work together. This law was passed on a partisan basis. I think there are some areas where we can work together. But right now, what's happening, there's so many complaints and so many concerns, and I would think that the president would want to address them and get this right.
To be clear on that, by timeout, you're talking about changing the rollout, not repealing the law. You're actually
I'm saying right now, listen, I recognize the reality that to repeal the law, obviously, it's the president's signature piece. So let's put that aside for a minute. I'm talking about a timeout where you're not implementing the law right now. What you're trying to do is there are significant problems. Let's convene a bipartisan group and say, how do we get this right for health care in the country? That didn't happen in the beginning. Think about it.
Do you think it should be repealed?
I support repeal, absolutely. But the political reality is right now that that's not going to happen.
Okay, there's a November 30th deadline that Zeke Emanuel and others say they can get everything straight by. One quick question about the future. Are we going to see one more time the same kind of crisis having to do with the budget?
I hope not, Charlie. I think the American people are tired of that. It's time for us to get the government funded for the year. So at a minimum, I serve on the budget committee. We have to come to an agreement to fund the government through the end of the fiscal year. So I believe that there certainly is an attitude that we've got to get that done. No more shutdowns.
All right. Senator Ayotte, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.